Hi, hello, it's Vin. I wanted to jump on live because yesterday, while I was doing the podcast with Ali, I noticed a lot of comments coming through, and Ali and I weren't able to really read the comments because we were focused on the podcast and the episode. We had a bunch of notes we wanted to get through. But that's also why I wanted to jump on live now to spend a little bit of time with you all because I did see the questions come through and I wanted to spend the time to get to know you. So many of you on my YouTube platform, so many of you on my Facebook platform. I'm going live to both platforms at the moment. I haven't been able to get to know. And I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity to get to know those of you on Facebook and those of you on YouTube at the same time, which would be lovely. And hello, I'm seeing Daniel come through. Hello from Houston, Nicolo and David. G'day, great to see you. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you for being a part of my YouTube and Facebook fam. I appreciate you all. I'm the most active on Instagram. That's why I wanted to spend a little bit of time here to show you all some love. So as you have questions, as you have some things you'd like to ask me, punch it in the chat below. I do see them come through. There's a lot coming through right now. So thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your love. We've got people from Perth, Australia, Rabia from Singapore. We've got Mia from Canada, Priyanka from Singapore. Hello, Priyanka. We've got Virginia from Seattle, Washington. Hello. Hi. Great to see all of you from all over the world. Hey, start off with some gratitude. Thank you all for deciding to join me on this crazy journey called life. Thank you for being, thank you for making the decision to jump on and join me on this journey. All right. Look, let's get into some Q&A. Love to do some Q&A with you all. Now I'm going to look through here into the comments. I got a question here quickly from Sebastian. Says, are you ever touring Australia? Sebastian, I live in South Australia and I do workshops mainly in South Australia. So if people do want to learn from me in person, come to South Australia. Come on down, take a flight and come down. And one of the reasons why I do my workshops in South Australia is because I've got a young family. I've got a 5-year-old boy and you can see him right there. That's my son right there. And one of the biggest priorities I have in my life right now is my son. And I want to minimize traveling, and that's why I'm doing all the workshops in South Australia. So if you do want to come and join me for a workshop, make the trip down to Adelaide. All right. Well, thank you for that question. I don't know how to get rid of the question now. There you go. Look at me being all fancy. Look at this. Vin using technology. I love it. All right. Let me jump back in here. Here we go. Here's an interesting question from AJ. AJ says, Vin, you love a bunch of speakers that you like to imitate. Would you be against me asking you who they are? Absolutely not. I'll give you 3 out of my 6. The first one that I really love is I love a speaker named Les Brown. And Les Brown has this incredible vibrance about him when he speaks, when he talks, he feels his words. And I love that about him. So Les Brown. Second person, these people are not related. They seem to have the same last name, which I think is hilarious. But the second person is Brené Brown. And Brené Brown is an incredible thought leader who talks about courage and vulnerability. And the thing that I love most about Brené Brown is she has this friendly nature about her. When she speaks, you just want to be her best friend. You just want to be her best friend. And I freaking love Brené Brown. So that's what I love about her. And it's what I started to learn from her. How to create connection with people really fast. Les Brown is the emotion. He's so emotive in the way he communicates. Third person is a magician named Darren Brown. And again, all their last names are Brown, but they're not related. So Darren Brown is a magician out of the UK. And what I love about Darren is his wit. Darren Brown is extremely witty. And he's also extremely charismatic. And he comes across really sophisticated. And I love that. So, those are my top 3. And I loved learning from them. And what I did was I picked 3 people so that I could sit down and take what I like and leave what I don't. One of the biggest lessons I've learned in my life so far is I don't have to take everything from a certain person. I can just take the things I like, and the things I don't like, I can just leave behind. So I look at all of these speakers as having ingredients that I like. And the analogy that I use is I look at life as being a chef, and I look at communication skills like being a chef. If I want to be the greatest chef in the world. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to borrow recipes from other great chefs, and then I'll start cooking those dishes, and I'll start to add my own ingredients in, and adding some ingredients from Les Brown, some ingredients from Darren Brown, some ingredients from Brene Brown, maybe some ingredients from Simon Sinek, maybe some ingredients from Oprah. And I'll take a whole bunch of these ingredients and I'll create something that's my own. However, I do stand on the shoulders of giants. Thanks for that question. Really appreciate that, AJ. Great question. I love it. All right, let's keep going through. Oh, here we go. Nathan, g'day, mate. How are you? Hope you're doing well, Nathan. Nathan's question is, how did you get into what you do? Almost accidentally. Almost accidentally. I remember when I was fairly early on in my entrepreneurial journey, I won an award, which is the South Australian Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And when I won that award, they needed me to do some speaking events to talk about the award that I've won. And I was thinking to myself, what the hell am I going to say? You want me to talk for how long? 15 minutes? Now you can't shut me up. But I was like, what am I going to talk about? And I spoke at that event. It was terrible, but I loved it. I loved it. I was like, wow, this speaking thing is so amazing. And then I just, decided that I wanted a speaking career. I wanted to build a speaking career. And it was almost accidental that I fell into it. Yeah, so kind of fell into that side of things accidentally. And the communication side of things, I just have a passion for it. I love it. I enjoy it. And I get a lot of fulfillment when my students come to me and say, hey, Vin, after your workshop, this happened, that happened. It brings me so much fulfillment. You know what's interesting, Nathan? I also find that the thing that we tend to do with our lives, it tends to be based around the very thing that changed our lives. When I was younger, I was invisible. When I was younger, I was very shy, very timid. I mean, within my family, I would talk, but outside of my family with strangers, I was very shy and very timid. And I now find myself teaching the very thing that changed my life, because the moment I learned how to communicate more effectively, my life flourished, right? And now I don't think it's by chance that I'm teaching it. And I find that a lot of people who are doing the thing they're doing, I just did a video for one of my clients this morning, and for her, she teaches people finance. And in her life, when she got control of her finance, she was able to build her dream life. So now she teaches people that thing. So it's interesting. There's a correlation. There seems to be a correlation. So thank you for that. Thank you, Nathan. Here we go. Any effective learning, any tips? You got to check out Justin. Let me get you his Instagram handle. He's one of my new friends I've made this year, and Justin is an incredible human being. And let me find you Justin Sung. And his Instagram handle is Dr. Justin Sung. Justin, Justin Sung. Search him up on YouTube and search him up on Instagram. This guy is amazing. He's teaching me so many things about effective learning, and I'm loving it. Incredible thought leader in that space. Check him out. While I'm quiet, I'm just looking through some of the questions here. I love that people are reacting to Les Brown. I was like, yeah, Les Brown, Brene Brown. Yeah, I love it. This is awesome. Thank you, Drea. Thank you for just that lovely comment that came by. And Drea just says, hey, Vin, by the way, you're doing an awesome job. Thank you. I also do a terrible job on certain days, but I appreciate the love. Interesting question here from Houston. Houston says, how do you view discipline and motivation? I find that discipline is a muscle that you have to grow, and you're not immediately great at discipline, just like how you're not immediately born ripped. Muscles are something you have to develop. They're something you have to train. That's how I view discipline. And I'm good with discipline when it comes to my business. I'm good with discipline when it comes to anything that is teaching, coaching related. However, I'm not good with discipline when it comes to exercise, for example, and resting. I'm not good with that either. And I find that in different areas of our lives, there's a different discipline muscle. And we just have to train that muscle. And to be more disciplined means you have to practice discipline more. So that's how I view discipline. Motivation. I view motivation as a byproduct of taking action. I don't look at motivation as something that I'm sitting and waiting for. I don't really sit there and go, oh, I'm just going to sit here and wait to feel motivated to do something. I've learned in my life that motivation is a byproduct of action. As I take more action, I feel more motivated. Whereas early in my life, I used to spend a lot of my time sitting around waiting to feel motivated to do something. I no longer wait for motivation. I just take action. And in the process of taking action, I get motivation. And then it creates momentum. It creates more and more and more momentum the more action that I take. So for me, I look at it as a byproduct as opposed to an ingredient I need before I take action. I look at it as a byproduct of action, not an ingredient required for action to take place. So that's how I view that. Thanks, Houston. Thanks for that little bit of a chin wag on the topic of motivation and discipline. I appreciate that. And hi, welcome. If you've just joined, thank you for joining me live. This is one of the new kind of segments that I'm thinking about doing for my Facebook and YouTube tribe. Thank you for being a part of my family. Thank you for being a part of the journey with me. Appreciate you being here if you just joined. Hi, hello. I'm just answering some questions and jumping into the Q&A. This is just kind of us getting to know each other a little bit. I thought it'd be nice. Because a lot of the times when you create a lot of content online, it's edited, it's cut down, it's chopped up. And then also sometimes it feels like we don't really get to know each other. Whereas this is a bit more candid. It's a bit more off the cuff. It's a bit more transparent. It feels a bit nicer. It feels like we can get to know each other. Oh, well, thank you for saying you like my metaphors there, Regina. I appreciate that. Let me just have a look at some of the questions here. Interesting. Question from David here. David says, what's the best way to collaborate with superstars like you? David, I think the important thing to think about here, almost from a more, let me answer this in the most wholesome way I can. I use a quote that I follow, and it's kind of my North Star, and it's by Steve Martin, who says, be so good they can't ignore you. And one of the first things, and if you notice in my content, I haven't collaborated with anyone yet either. And one of the reasons I haven't collaborated with other people is because I'm focusing on my craft. And I'm going to focus on my craft and become so good that other people are going to want to collaborate with me. You know what I mean? Because me focusing on my craft and me getting better at what I do, that's something I can control. Whereas other people collaborating with me, I kind of really can't control that. So I'm trying to focus on the things I can control. And what I can control is building my own audience, getting better at my craft, getting better on camera, improving my communication skills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as I focus on becoming so good they can't ignore me, guess what? There's going to come a point where somebody is going to want to start to collaborate with me now. And maybe now if I reach out to some of my inspirations, maybe they will want to collaborate with me because they're going to view my large audience and again, my audience large. I mean, is it really? If you compare it to all the other incredible influencers out there, not really. I'm kind of a small fish, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep focusing on my craft, keep getting better, keep growing. And I know that at some point, they're going to want to collaborate with me. So again, when I'm early on in my journey, I focus on becoming more masterful with what I do. And I think it's a good place to start. It's a good place to start. Focus on the things you can control. Thank you for the question. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, I love this. I love this question. Oh, Amir says, hi, Vin. I'm from Bangladesh. Welcome. First time watching you. Tell me a bit about yourself. What do you do? Are you an English teacher? No, not an English teacher. English was my third language. Some of you may not know this. The first language that I learned is called Dijil, right? So a little bit of Dijil for you. Also Dijil nang. Then the second language I learned was Vietnamese. Vinh là người Việt Nam. Tôi Vinh san ở nước Úc. Second language I learned. Then the third language I learned was English. I didn't really grasp English until I was about 7 or 8 years old. So English is my third language. And I've had to work so hard at learning English to be able to speak it the way that I speak right now. Because far out, it wasn't my second language, it was my bloody third language. So there you go. And I don't teach English. What I do teach is communication skills. I teach people how, if I had to use a metaphor to explain what I do, a lot of people that come to me are technically brilliant. So think about your technical skills. If your technical skills are a 10 out of 10, do you think people perceive you to be a 10 out of 10? if your communication skills are a 3 out of 10, though. So you see, if your technical skills are a 10 and your communication skills are a 3, how do you think people perceive you? You are only as good as you can communicate. So what I help people do is I help people improve their communication skills so people can see them for the brilliance that they have. So I help people amplify the best parts of who they are through improving the use of their voice, through the improvement in storytelling, through listening, through body language, etc. So the foundations to help people see you for the brilliance that you have inside. So I spend a lot of time doing that. That's what I do. Oh gosh, I love the interesting questions that are coming through. I love these. The question here is from Mark, and Mark says, is luck a part of your success? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Luck is a part of everyone's success. Period. I mean, I don't think anyone can sit there and say that my success was purely just me. I highly doubt it. I mean, surely there's a case like that in the world, but it would be super, 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 super rare. Super rare. I would say luck is a part of everyone's success in life. Period. If I didn't have a few key people that saw me speak at key moments in my career, I would not be where I am right now. 100%. If a certain video of mine didn't go viral on social media, I would not be here right now. And that's not to discount the hard work that I put in or my team puts in, but luck is definitely a part of success, for sure. For sure. Hello, Jason. Thought I'd just say a quick hello to you, mate. I love the profile pic. I wish I had muscles like that. Gosh, I've been slacking on the gym so much. Technical question. How is your camera so wide? I've got a wide lens. I use a wide lens camera. G'day, Carlo. How are you, mate? Carlo says, how do you get your rhythm when you're talking to a stranger? How do you just keep going on communicating without being awkward? I hope I'm not being awkward now. I mean, this here, what I'm doing with all of you is me keeping the conversation going. And I'm kind of keeping this conversation going by myself with some comments that you're putting through. Think about any form of communication, Carlo. Any form of communication that you engage in is a form of improvisation, right? And improvisation is a skill. This is a skill. Most people don't give the credit of this that this deserves. This is a skill. The ability to improvise is actually a skill you can develop and get better at. Just like the skill of typing with your thumbs. Remember the first time we started typing with our thumbs, you'd type a text message and it would be super slow. You'd be like, right? It would be super difficult. However, now when you see people texting, it's like they type super fast. And that's a skill, just like the skill of improvisation. So what you have to get better at is the skill of improv. Because what is a conversation at the end of the day? Think about it. What is a conversation? I say something, you hear what I said, and then you say something. I don't know what you're going to say after I said what I've said. So you say something, I hear it, and then I say something. It's just improvisation. And there are actually improv classes that you can go to that put you in situations that you wouldn't be able to predict. And then in those moments, guess what skill you're developing? The skill of improvisation. And to me, the art of communication, the art of conversation is the skill of improvisation. So that's why I'm able to do what I do. And I can kind of talk to you. And I can kind of do this forever, right? Because and it's not to say that all conversations are interesting, because not everyone who can improvise can continue an engaging conversation. However, if you are good at improv, it infinitely increases the probability that you're going to be a good conversationalist. All right. Thank you, Anne. Anne says, any promotion on your training classes? Look, if you send my team a DM, and you may have to, for you, those of you on YouTube, you may have to go on Instagram or Facebook. But if you send my team a DM and you write the word magic, I'll get my team to send you through a bit of a special promo for my online course. Oh, gosh. Oh, love the way you dress. Thank you, Lance. I'm wearing a white shirt today, so hopefully you think this is... Look, my wife dresses me. She chooses a lot of my style, and so we can thank her for that one. This is not really a podcast, Jarrett. This is just me doing a Q&A, getting to know you all a little, and trying to serve my incredible audience that I've somehow been able to grow. So this is just me trying to get to know you all a little, and for you all to get to know me. Because one of the things that I see in the comment section is that people say, oh, all your videos are edited. Are you editing out all of your terrible communication? Are you editing out only the best bits? And I kind of wanted to do a video where I'm speaking nonstop for, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it may be. Not really to go, hey, look at me, I'm a great communicator, but really to show you that great communication exists on a continuum. There are moments where we communicate really well, and then there are moments where we're kind of clunky and all over the place and rambly. It exists on a continuum. There are times when you're great and there are times when you're not. The thing that you have to become conscious of is that in the moments where you need to be great, do you have the skills to rise to the occasion? Because what tends to happen is that a lot of the times in high pressure situations where you're going for a job interview or you're having a conversation with someone that you have a crush on, in those high stake moments, do you rise to the occasion with great communication skills? Are you able to connect with the person on the other side of the table? It's not about always being great at this thing. No, there are times when I'm a terrible communicator. And that's often times when I'm just low energy, I'm tired, I'm not focused. It exists on a continuum. So I wanted to jump on live to share with you who I am, as opposed to just little glimpses of who I am. So I thought it'd be nice. I don't know. Maybe you're bored shitless and think this is terrible. It's all good. I'm not for everyone. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn on social media is that I'm not for everyone and I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine. If you don't like what I do and you don't find it valuable, that's okay. It's like when you think about gym equipment. Do you walk into the gym and use every single piece of equipment? No, you don't. You go in and you use some. You don't use all of them. I may be a piece of equipment that you walk into the gym and you use once a year. You may use it once a week. You may use it every day. And it's okay. Because if you try to please them all, you bloody please no one. So that's what this podcast is about. It's about me hopefully humanizing myself and connecting with you kind of one-on-one. Gosh, I love some of the questions coming through, and I'm trying to find questions that will add value to as many people as possible, so don't mind me. Oh, this is an interesting topic from Helen. Helen says, love your energy. Communication is so important. People say that I talk too much, but I do talk a lot. And through all that talk, I've learned information is key, isn't it? Helen from Michigan, you're a fine speaker. I always wish by talking, I could help other people on their journey. Helen, this is great self-awareness. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, sometimes I can talk too much. And it may not be talking too much. It may just be you're sharing information that's not relevant. That might be the problem. And relevance is only achieved when we listen. That's why listening is such a critical part of the puzzle that I am including into my online course next year. Because with my online course, the Stage Academy, I update it every single 3 or so months because I listen to what the audience is saying and then I update the online course. And the cool thing about if you join the Stage Academy, my online course, is that once you buy it once, you've got lifetime access to it. But I'm not the kind of person that creates something once and then never touches it again. I am a mad scientist. The Stage Academy, my vision with it is to create the world's greatest online communication course. And to do that, I'm going to have to continually improve it. I don't believe that what I have is the world's greatest communication course right now, but it's going to be, and it's on the way to be that. And that's why I'm also going to add a listening module, how to listen more effectively. Because if you listen more effectively, that's going to allow you to then get the relevant knowledge and then share relevance. Because often over talking is just someone talking about something that's not relevant to them. That's all. Otherwise, if I'm talking about something relevant, I can talk a lot, and to you will perceive it as lots of value. So that's what I'd kind of share there. Thanks for your question, Helen. Oh, okay. So Nick says, any advice for someone on the path of becoming a keynote speaker or a speaker? The world of speaking is a difficult one. Becoming a professional speaker, it's an uncommon path that's not walked by many. And that is a big conversation that is probably going to have to wait for another Q&A. I will give you the high level one on this, Nick, in case you're still here. And what I would say, content and craft. Focus on that first, meaning focus on the content, the music notes, and then focus on how you play the instrument, how you use your voice, your stagecraft. Spend a lot of time on this, because once you've got a great keynote in terms of content and your stagecraft is unbelievable, then the very next time you do a presentation, your next 5 events or your next 5 gigs will come from that immediately. Whereas if you do an average presentation, then you're not going to get any gigs from it. So I'll kind of use that there. Oh, Mark, you've got wonderful questions. I love your questions. Do you have any guilty pleasures? Food. Oh, is that a guilty pleasure of mine? I've definitely overate in the last 7 days, almost every day. Not good for you, but my goodness, I have an incredible wife and she cooks incredible meals. I'm also a fairly good cook, if I can say so myself. And I love good food. I love great food with great company, with great conversations. When you do all 3, I'm in heaven. I am in heaven. So I love that. Definitely a big guilty pleasure of mine. And bringing that question back for a second, I also love playing games. Just saying. I'm a bit of an Age of Empires fan. Love it. Oh, Rachel, so good to hear from you. Oh, you were at my event in Canada. I was in Canada earlier this year. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Good to hear from you. Thanks for all the kind words, everyone. I really appreciate it. All right, let me try to catch up to some of the comments that are just coming through now. Interesting question here from Bamini. Bamini says, how can I be more consistent? And I'm assuming, Bamini, you're saying maybe in your professional life or your passions you're pursuing. I find that I am more consistent when I have more clarity. I'm more motivated when I have more clarity. I'm more disciplined when I have more clarity. And I don't see a lot of people talking about clarity, because people talk about, I've got to be more disciplined, work harder, and whereas for me, I get all of those benefits, the benefit of being consistent, the benefit of discipline, the benefit of working hard. All of those things come along when I'm really clear on what it is that I want. And Bruce Lee has this incredible quote where Bruce Lee says, when the student is ready, the master will appear. And that lesson is also about clarity. When you know what you want, you'll know which teachers you need in your life. You'll know which mentors you need in your life. When you have clarity on what it is that you want to achieve, I believe you'll be more motivated and inspired to be more consistent. It's in the times when we're unclear with what we want to do in our lives, and we're unclear with this certain project that we have in our business. And when we have a lack of clarity, it causes us to do what? Procrastinate. That's what happens. Right? I jumped on to do this stream because I had clarity that I wanted to connect with my audience on Facebook and YouTube more. I wanted to make an effort to connect with you all more. I wanted to have a long form piece of content on these platforms so that you're able to get to know me more, so that I could solve the problem of people thinking that, Vin only, he doesn't put attention into his audiences on these platforms. Well, I do want to put effort and share some love. That's why I'm here. So again, I find consistency for me comes when I have really good clarity. And clarity comes from journaling. Right? It comes from journaling and then reviewing it. I mean, gosh, look, I've got my journal from this year, 2022, and I've got my journal from last year, 2021. And for me to move into 2023, guess what I'm doing? I'm reviewing all of my journal notes, thoughts that I've had through the year. I'm sitting here this morning looking through, where was I in 2021? What kind of thoughts did I have? What kind of lessons did I learn? What kind of key things did I write down? What kind of thoughts did I learn from this year? What kind of feelings and emotions did I have this year throughout the year? What were reoccurring themes? And then I'm using evidence based on who I was and where I am to map out where I want to go. And then when I do that and I have clarity, I'm consistent. I'm more disciplined. I'm more focused. I procrastinate less. So I really believe clarity or a lack of clarity seems to be the root of most evils. I don't mean like evil as in people doing terrible things, but more it's the evil that stops us from achieving the life and achieving consistency. Hope that helps. Ooh, question from Brad. What are your hobbies, Vin? I love playing games. I love spending time with friends and family. I love archery. Really enjoy doing archery. It helps me relax. I love cooking, and I specifically love cooking steaks and doing slow cook briskets, anything to do with a barbecue. Absolutely love. Also love cooking spicy types of food. Really enjoy cooking. It's a massive part of who I am. I really enjoy sitting and dreaming up a life that I want to live. You know, I know that sounds weird to sound like a hobby, but I love getting all childlike and sitting there all giddy going, what kind of life do you want to live in 2023? You know, I look at life as in a book and we get to write new chapters. We get to do different things. And I love planning family holidays and planning memorable moments. You know, I do it so much that I call it a hobby. So there are a bunch of hobbies of mine there. So I love doing that stuff. Mark, you keep coming with the value. You keep coming with the value. I love it. This is a must read. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. And if you're unaware, I do have a podcast. It's called the Vin and Ali Show, and that's a podcast where I review my favorite books. So if you want to know, head over to my podcast, the Vin and Ali Show. You can find that anywhere. This is a book I read every single year, Mark. I read this book every single year, and I've read this book at least 5-6 times. And I'm reading it in a different way this time, Mark. This time, as I'm going through the book, I'm writing all over it. So it's almost like I'm having a conversation with the author. And as I'm reading it, I'm writing back and I'm like, so why do you think this way, Naval? And I'm pretending like I'm having a conversation with him. And I'm doing that because I'll most likely never be able to have a conversation with him because his email is naval@idon'tdocoffee.com. I love it. I love how he protects his time. It's amazing. It's really cool. Wonderful things coming through. Thank you, everyone, for the engagement. Really appreciate you all. Dylan's got an interesting question. Vin, how often do you watch your own content? I try to review my content once or so a month, and I'm just watching it to, I mean, I'll probably watch some of this live back, and I'm doing it because I'm trying to critique myself. I think I'm someone who believes in continuous improvement. I don't stay the same. I try not to stay the same. I try to improve, but I also don't have crazy, ridiculous expectations of myself. I just challenge myself with a simple challenge. How can you be 1% better? And that phrase I use a lot. How can you be 1% better? Every time I run a workshop, how can this workshop be 1% better? Heck, let's be a little crazy. How can it be 2% better? Hey, you're going live this time. How can you improve this a little more? How can you change the software? Maybe how can you improve the backdrop, the setting, the lighting, the camera, the lens? Again, I love micro improvements and I really enjoy it. So, yeah. Interesting question. What's your tattoo of? So my tattoo is of, first of all, on top are helicopters, which were Black Hawks that were used during the Vietnam War. So I've got images of the Vietnam War on top. And then down here it's a tattoo of, it's a tattoo of a boat that's sinking, which is my mum and dad's refugee journey. And then you also see an oil rig here. And the oil rig saved my family as their boat was sinking. So to me, I'm just completing a sleeve that I'm doing based on the story that my parents have lived. And my parents are refugees from Vietnam. So, I've got the war to the boat to getting to Australia to the life that they've built. So to me, that's a kind of, a story that I'm building out and just honoring my family and their history. And for me to never forget, I am where I am today because of compassion, love, and kindness. My family are refugees. We didn't have anywhere to go. And the Australian people took my family in. And I know that I have the life that I have today. I know that I'm able to do the work that I love because of love, kindness, and compassion in the world. And to me, it's a reminder of where I come from. And at one point, my family had no home. We had nowhere to go. And I have it so that, I see myself every morning in the mirror. I kind of remind myself, hey, remember, you came from nothing. You had nowhere to even bloody live. And you only are where you are right now because of love, kindness, and compassion. So keep trying to spread that. Try to reciprocate what you've been given. Yeah, so it's a reminder for me, and I'm building it out slowly. I've got some of my favorite tattoo artists in the world, and gosh, the wait list for one of them is 3 years. So it's almost my turn to continue the next part of the sleeve. So yeah, thanks for the question, Joseph. I love this question. What are your thoughts on investing? I am not qualified to answer that question. Oh gosh, I love it. Yes, Matthew. Thank you for the question. Matthew, I've released my workshop dates for 2023. The next one I'm running is February 4th to 5th in South Australia. Hopefully, see you there. Thanks for letting me plug my in person classes. Gosh, you're all sending through so many incredible questions. Oh, thank you, Dinah. Thank you for sharing that. Dinah, it's crazy. A lot of refugee stories are so similar. Sometimes when I sit down and speak to another person who's a refugee, I feel like we've lived the same life. It's really crazy. Yeah. And you know what? It's crazy. In the world right now, there are so many refugees still, and it's why, yeah, I just really believe in kindness, love, and compassion. Share that as much as we can. Just do it to the best of our ability. Houston, I'm not really going to Singapore anytime soon. My classes are in South Australia. Now, if you do want to join me for a workshop, I do them virtually as well. So I've got a virtual masterclass. If you jump over to Instagram and you hit the link in my bio, then you'll be able to find the links to my virtual masterclass. I run a 5-day virtual masterclass, each day 2 hours, 10 hours in total. And if you really want to level up your communication skills game and you can't travel all the way to South Australia, another great option is the virtual masterclass. Yeah. And I run them live. So it's actually me teaching. Mark, you are a reoccurring guest on my show. Mark, I recharge with a time away. And the way that I view myself, Mark, and please, I don't mean this to be arrogant in any kind of way. I just like this metaphor, but I view myself like a Ferrari. And I love driving. Like, again, if you think about a Ferrari, you take a Ferrari on the track and you drive it really hard and you go real hard, redline the car. But then the Ferrari spends a lot of time in the garage and also a lot of time at the mechanics. So to me, I love working for 8+ week, 10-week stints and go hard. And then I like to take a whole month off and travel with my family. So next year, early in the year, I'm going to Asia. I'm spending a couple of weeks in Malaysia, taking time off with my family. I'm taking time off as of tomorrow, and then I'm going to take the whole time off. And that's how I recharge. I've had to learn how to get good at doing nothing because that symbolizes time in the garage where the car does nothing, right? I mean, you think about a Ferrari's life, it spends the majority of its time in the garage doing nothing. And it's not that I want to do nothing with my life, it's that I also respect the rest period. Whereas before, guess what I was doing? I was being that Ferrari that was being driven every single day. Guess what happened to me? Burnt out. Engine exploded. Didn't feel good. Felt sad. Didn't like my life. Felt really unhappy. Got depressed. So now I've kind of learned that metaphor. Houston, thank you. Look at you. Houston just found the link to my link tree on Instagram and then posted it so everyone else can see it. That is amazing. I am so blessed to be connected to incredible humans like you who have that initiative. Thank you, Houston. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. You're a legend, mate. All right. James, the times for my virtual classes, I've tried to optimize it for my Australian customers and also my American students. So I've tried best I can, but again, it's hard to satisfy every time zone in the world. So if you check the link tree, you'll be able to see that the time zone differences. Gosh, seeing so many questions come through. Angel, this is not an easy question to answer, and I just want you to know that, Angel, it's very irresponsible of me to give you advice because I don't know you and I don't know your circumstances. So first, please understand that anything that I say outside of the realm of communication, these are just friends sharing thoughts with each other. Don't look at this as, oh, Vin's giving me advice, I should follow this. No, 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 no. I don't know you, and it's irresponsible for me to give advice in this way. So, Angel, for me to share thoughts, we're friends sharing thoughts with each other. I find that often we're generally not lost. Okay, we're generally just overwhelmed, and we're overwhelmed because we're carrying so many thoughts in our heads. So for me, what I like doing is I journal a lot, Angel, and anytime I have thoughts, I just write them down. So right now, you probably have a lot of thoughts in your head about what you want to do and where you're confused, and confusion comes from excess information, being overwhelmed. So I write down all my thoughts, and I've become less lost in my life because I start to write all of my thoughts down. And it could be random as, oh, I feel really worried about this presentation that I'm giving. Well, why am I worried about that? I do presentations all the time. And I just write everything that comes to my mind down. And then after a while, what happens is it's like an email inbox. You start to feel lost and overwhelmed when you've got 17,000 unread emails. But every time you write something down, Angel, you mark it as read. So now you've got 16,999 emails. You write down another thought, 16,998 emails. And as you do this for years and years and years and years, your inbox starts to have 7 emails, 14 emails, 25 emails at most. And when you're able to clear your head of all of those thoughts, then you feel less overwhelmed. And when you feel less overwhelmed, you feel less lost. Like you won't be as lost because you have more clarity, right? You'll be able to think with more clarity because there's less going on up here. So for me, it's not kind of something that's going to help you achieve immediate results, but it's something that's going to help you gradually be able to gain more clarity. YouTube journaling techniques. Look up certain techniques. We live in a world now where there's so much information at our fingertips, and I would encourage journaling. And from you asking this question, I'm making the assumption that you may be earlier on in life and maybe younger. I would encourage you to start journaling as a wonderful habit. And it may be for you and it may not work for you. It may make you even feel more confused. But in the time that we have together, that's what I would say. As friends, sharing thoughts. Meet's got a question, advice for shy people. Meet, all I would say here is that to be more confident is just a series of behaviors, right? So right now, you most likely perceive me as being confident, right? So me being confident is a series of behaviors. It's me using my body language in a certain way, facial expressions, my voice, the volume at which I'm speaking at. All of this is hopefully radiating confidence, someone who's confident. Whereas if I change some behaviors, and let's say, for example, let's say I do this now, and I'm not giving you eye contact. I'm speaking with a lower volume, playing smaller with my body language, and all of a sudden you perceive me to be shy. So I always like to demystify it for my students, and that shy and confident are a different set of behaviors. So you've practiced and you're very familiar with shy behaviors. What you have to do is you have to just practice the more confident behaviors. And at the start, this is, and a lot of people don't like this. They don't like the whole, oh, fake it till you make it is bad. Whether it's fake it till you make it, or try to be the best version of yourself, or practice the confident version of yourself, use whatever metaphor you want. But essentially what I'm saying is fake it till you make it. Pretend to be confident. I remember the first time that I practiced being confident. I used to be really shy, right? I used to be really good at all the shy behaviors because I've been practicing them and anchoring them my whole life. So when I started to practice being more confident, the first thing I practiced was I practiced speaking with more volume. So I just focused on one key behavioral change at a time. So then when I spoke to people, I said, again, the body language hasn't changed. I didn't really give people eye contact yet, but I said, hi, it's really great to meet you. And I just changed one behavior at a time. So look, all I would just share with you is that practice the confident behaviors and practice them one at a time. First thing being volume, second thing being eye contact, and third thing being use larger body language. And just start practicing it. And this is what really happens. It's fascinating. And then as you pretend to do this, even though you feel shy on the inside, then people around you will start to say, hey, you seem really confident. And the first time they say that, you'll go, oh, yeah, I am confident. Yeah. And then you practice stronger voice, bigger body language, better eye contact. And then soon people say, hey, you seem really confident. And you go, yeah, I am confident, damn it. It's almost this funny process of learning a new set of behaviors that help you come across in a certain way. And then when people perceive you to be that way, you start to also perceive yourself to be that way. It's a funny conundrum. It's funny how the mind works. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for spending the last 45 minutes with me. This was me just wanting to jump on to create a slightly different video where I am answering your questions and engaging with you, because I do see a lot of comments come through where people want to get to know me and people want to spend time with me. And this is how I'm able to do it at scale. My friends, the last thing I'll say here, a couple of things. First thing is, I teach communication skills, and a lot of you didn't even know that. I do have an online course. It's called the Stage Academy. Check it out if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. I put out content every day. The next thing I'll say, and I'll close with this. Your voice is one of the most powerful instruments in the world. It truly is. Hopefully you can experience how I'm having an impact on you and how you feel. Hopefully you leave this live session a little more inspired. Hopefully you leave this feeling good and feeling motivated. That's the power of the human voice. And your voice, if you use it in a certain way, can brighten somebody's day. Somebody could having the shittiest day ever, but if you use your voice in a certain way, you can lift their energy and change their entire course of that day for that person. Use your instrument to spread love, kindness, and compassion, and realize that you have an instrument that can change the course of someone's day and maybe even the course of that week. With great power comes great responsibility. Use your instrument for good. Take care, my friends. See you in the next live. Bye for now.